the very beginning and pick up where we might have forgotten to ask you questions before. Tell me first where you were born.
I was born in Springfield, Massachusetts, and I'm born in November 2nd, 1912. I had an older sister, Nellie Trask, who was born in 1897, 15 years difference. And then I have a younger sister, Phyllis Monahan, who was born in 1916, 4 years after I was. And after we moved from Springfield, Massachusetts to Vermont, where my father worked in a blacksmith shop. And I have a picture of him was taken in the blacksmith shop, which was taken in 1913 because the date is on the calendar behind the forge.
You had just the two sisters?
Yeah.
Nellie, who was quite a bit older, and then Phyllis, who's younger than you.
Nellie Trask is, just to comment, is grandmother of
Buddy.
Buddy Trask, who I think has been head of the athletic program here for quite a few years.
Oh, yes, quite a few years is right, yes.
That was his grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
My sister.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And now let's see. So you went through school in Rochester, Vermont.
Yes, I went all 12 grades in Rochester. Started in the first grade, graduated from high school. And after I graduated from high school, I went to the University of Vermont for a year and a half. I was in the 4-year teacher training program, but I got discouraged after a while. I was working from a board and room at a place on South Willard Street, they were very nice to me, but after a while you just don't take it anymore.
Tell me about the incident there with the daughter of the family when she wanted you to eat with her on her birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Remember?
One time I remember this lady. In fact, she came from the Heaton family in Montpelier, Vermont. And, of course, they had all kinds of money. In fact, they gave the Heaton Hospital to the town of Montpelier. But this was Depression days, so she didn't have any servants, so she just had this college girl, which is me. I remember one time on my birthday, she had a daughter who was 10 or 11. And she said to me, Natalie, her name was, she said to me, "You can eat with us tonight because it's your birthday." So I set the table up in the dining room, and before they got around to eat, Mrs. Mark came out and she said, "What's that extra place for?" And I said, "Well, Natalie asked me to eat with her in the dining room because it's my birthday." Oh, she says, "No, but Natalie can come out in the kitchen and eat with you." Well, knowing me, with the Irish background I got, that kind of stuff don't go over too well either. But then I lived through it.
So that's when you decided that you really didn't want to work for them anymore.
It wasn't my thing.
Wasn't your thing. Did you leave school at that time? Leave the university at that time?
After the mid-years, I just never went back.
Never went back, yeah. Then what did you do? This is before you met Allie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I went to work. How I happened to meet Allie, I went to work in the hotel. I used to cook and wait on table and tend the front desk. And
now, where was this, in Burlington?
It's a small hotel in Rochester, Vermont.
In Rochester.
Was the Rochester Inn. And I liked that because I like people.
Yeah.
And what were we talking about?
Well, you were cooking and working at the front desk at the Rochester Inn.
I used to cook there, and then of course I always did like to cook. And then this Mrs. Church, where Allie boarded, got sick, so I went up there to help her out, do the housework and all. I guess that was it. What was
Allie? Where was Allie working?
He was superintendent in the mill.
In Rochester?
No, in the mill was in Hancock.
In Hancock.
Wherever near.
I see. So that's how you met him.
Yeah, that's how I met him. Well, I went out originally with him on a blind date.
Yeah.
A fellow didn't have a car, so Ellie had a Model A, I think it was a 31 or 32 Ford with a rumble seat.
Yeah.
So this fellow hired Allie to take him down to White River to see his girlfriend's folks. And so Ella said, well, you know that Foley girl that works in the hotel asked her if she'd go out with me. So I went.
Yeah.
And that was it.
This is after you had seen him at the hotel.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. And then it wasn't too long after that you folks were married.
Yeah, we got married September 10th, 1933.
And what did you tell us about how much money did you have between you?
Well, in the first place, that night we got married. We were married in Rutland, the Baptist church. The minister married us. But after the church ceremony, we went to the minister's house, and the minister married us. And he had his wife and another person as a witness. That was, I forget the name of the street, it was in Rutland, Vermont. And Ellie had, I think it was about $5 bill in his pocket. And I knew that to get the electricity turned on, you have to put a $5 deposit down. We had an apartment over there, my sister. And so but I knew the fellow turned the electricity on. Yeah. So I said, name was Hugh Kinsman. I said, I'll give you a couple dollars and I'll give you the rest next week. He said, okay, I'll turn it on. So that's how we got the electricity turned on.
Oh, golly. These are great things to remember, though. Okay. Yeah, they really are. Oh, golly, yes. Now, so when you were first married, you were there in Rochester still?
Yes, we lived over my sister. And then the company houses, there were about 12 company houses belonged to the Evernear. And Alan already lived in one or two of them. So we said, well, I think we'll get one, then I won't have to drive the car to work every day. So we lived on they call it Virgin Alley, and we were the third one over on the left-hand side, just beyond the mill, where the company house was there. And we lived there, and Mary Lou, in fact, was
born there in Rochester.
Yeah, in Rochester. Yeah.
Tell me something. Now, this is getting a little bit personal. It's really none of my business, but I'm going to throw it out. You married Allie, who was a Presbyterian. Baptist in the Baptist church. Yeah. Were you ever a Catholic?
No,
Catholic?
I never was.
Yeah.
See, when I was, my mother was a really strong Universalist church in Bethel, Vermont, where she met my father, and she used to play the organ and sing in the choir, and that was her church. But my father was one of those people that pretend to be Catholic but never work at it.
Well, we count ourselves, but we don't,
Anyway, they were married, and neither one, that's what happened. Neither one went to church.
So it didn't really make any difference, because the only reason I asked you that question was lots of times in those days, when a Catholic married a Protestant, there was a lot of hoop-de-doo from the family.
It wasn't this way. It didn't make any difference.
Didn't make any difference. So that was one less hurdle.
But I had already been to catechism class and all that. So it's something that you never forget.
No, that's right. You're right.
Never forget.
Yeah.
But Allie liked to go to the Baptist church, so that's what we
At least he went to church somewhere.
That's
what
right.
Probably
we went somewhere.
Yeah, that's right. Now let's see. Mary Lou was born in Rochester. Then where from Rochester? Did you go?
From Hancock. That's where we lived.
Oh, Hancock. Okay.
They're only 4 miles apart.
Yeah.
We moved to Newport, Vermont.
Okay. Remembering what you told me before, you said 1937 to 1945.
Yeah, 45. In 45, Allie sold his partnership to his partner, Art Rowe, and we moved to Waterbury, Vermont, where I had a job working for the Waterbury Veneer Mill. We lived there 1 year. Then we went to Fairhaven, Vermont. Okay,
now were you in Waterbury in 45 or 40?
Yeah, just 1 year.
45.
In fact, we were there BJ Day and VE Day.
Oh, yeah.
I remember it was quite a patriotic town.
Yeah.
How they did march up and down the street.
Yeah, but that's good. It's got its place. Maybe we should have more of it nowadays.
I think we should.
We've lost so much of that stuff.
And there we went to Fairhaven. That's in 48.
46. Huh?
46.
Yeah.
And then in 48 we came to Newport.
Now, where does Tupper Lake come into this?
Well,
did you go to Tupper Lake after Fairhaven?
1964.
So were you in Fairhaven from 46 to 64?
No, from 46 to 48 we're in Fairhaven.
Okay.
48 to 64 we're in North Stratford.
Okay.
And 64 went to Tupper Lake for 3 years.
Okay.
And
to
we
67.
came back in 68. When I went to work in the Balsams.
And you were there for, what did you say, 27 years? Oh, golly, Maggie.
I've been there since '68.
Yeah. What did you do when you first went out there to work?
When I first went out there, I worked the front desk.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, sign people in. And it's some different than it is today, I'll tell you.
Oh, yeah.
Very busy.
Yeah.
There used to be just one or two of us on the front desk. We did everything. Signed them in and signed them out, and took their money, and wished them a goodbye on their trips out.
But those were the days when the hotel was only open in the summertime.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And then they opened in the winter, you see, but someday they probably open year round.
Mm-hmm. When then did Allie retire? Was that in 67?
She retired in 67.
67, yeah. And then you built this house.
Yes, we built this house in 68. He died in 73.
And then in the meantime, you've been right at the Balsams. You just kept on with the job.
Yeah, been there.
Let me think if there's anything else I wanted to ask you. I remember over the years, your good friend Ina Dixon used to say to you, Maggie, I don't understand why you stay out there and do all that commuting. Why don't you sell that goddamn house and come into town?
Yeah, she was. She liked to have me do it so I could wait on her. Brian, I loved her.
Oh, yeah. But of course, this was, Ina died in 79.
I know.
And we were still trying to get you to come into town.
Oh, yeah. Ina was Ina.
Yeah. Ina was Ina. Good-hearted.
Very.
And you know, in many ways, Emily reminds me of Ina.
They're the same kind
temperament,
of people.
Much the same kind of temperament.
Because they got a heart of gold.
Yeah.
But there's something about it. I think they like to control people. Or I don't know just what it is.
Yeah. Well, you know, bossy. We're all bossy to a certain extent.
I guess it's just plain bossy.
Yeah. And Evelyn, I remember saying to me one time, well, so-and-so said I know more than God. That the other person knew more than God. She said, no, you can't because I know more than God. Oh, golly. Well, you've had a full life.
Oh, yes, I have.
Yeah. Now, where was Susie born? Mary Lou and Ricky?
She was born in Fairhaven.
She was born in Fairhaven. How about
Ricky was
born in Rochester, too? Or Hancock.
But we lived in Hancock.
Yeah.
There's a lady that had a place where you went and had, instead of going to the hospital, you went to her home.
Like a midwife.
Yeah.
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 And
of course, Susie was born in Fairhaven.
In the hospital.
Hospital.
Yeah.
We lived in Fairhaven.
Yeah. Now, of course, all your kids, Derek is in Rutland.
Yeah.
And Mary Lou is here, and Susie's in Guilford.
Got, let's see, 7 grandchildren and 4 great-grandchildren.
Oh, good for you. And you're still hippity-hopping around.
Still hippity-hopping around, as long as the car runs, I guess.
And this last bout when you were in the hospital, we thought, my God, is she going to go home and she's going to take life easy? No way. We called to see how you were doing. What were you doing?
I was going to work.
Going to work, sure.
I had no idea, no desire just to sit home.
Yeah, well, you've worked all your life. I think it's an ethic, you know.
See, if you worked all your life, it's pretty hard to stop.
Yeah.
You don't, you get up in the morning and you get dressed.
Yes.
And just flopping around with a bathrobe on all day wouldn't be my thing.
Yeah.
No way.
No way. Well, you're doing what you want to do.
That's right. I'm very lucky that I got a job that I like.
Yes, you have. Yeah.
Very lucky.
And I think the biggest thing is seeing the people getting the scoops on the gossip that's going along. Right. And heaven knows there's plenty of stuff moving at the Balsams.
You don't miss much.
You don't miss much, is right. Okay, now we'll take a little pause. Now, Maggie, my voice is stronger, so I should think. I wanted to ask you about North Stratford and about the changes that you've noticed in it. When you go back now to visit Victor and Daisy and back to church occasionally.
Of course, when I first came there, that was in 48. The Catholic Church was very active, and the Baptist Church too. And of course, Allie was a Baptist, so we went to the Baptist Church. And we used to work hard. Remember, we had to make $125 each month. Everybody was on different committees. And there was Grace Martin and Nugents and Willard and Desmond's father lived 2 houses down.
Mm-hmm.
George Keyser was head of the St. Regis. They lived next door. Across the street was Kennedy's. You know, Ellen. Her name was Ellen. What was his name? You remember he's the NBC bread man.
No, see, I don't.
I'll think of it in a minute. It
don't
was
know.
Harriet.
Yeah.
And it was a real up and coming town. And in '49, I got elected to the school board.
That's right.
And I stayed on that for 12 years. And
was that the time that Allie said to you something about, can't you get anybody to help you? You were doing something for the school.
We were working for the church. And I had taken my tea card up. We were going to serve dessert and a different kind of sausage for ice cream, so I had the tea card up. I had to look that up and back. And I made 11 trips out to the car with trays and all this extra stuff. It was a Christmas sale. And now he's in the couch smoking, and he said to me, well, think you get somebody else to help you? And I said, if you can find anybody else to help me, you name them and I'll go get them.
Go get them.
I said, I can see that you're not working too hard at it.
Yeah.
I said, there's trouble with this Baptist church. They got too many
generals,
bosses and not enough workers.
What did he say to you when you said, I don't see you working too hard at it?
Well, he didn't say
He didn't say too much, yeah.
And across the street, of course, is Mr. and Mrs. Watts, and they were great church members, you know.
Yeah.
And it was a real up-and-coming little town.
What did you say? How many years were you on the school board?
12.
12 years.
And during that time, we built the first addition to the school.
Okay.
When I first went on the school board, I remember the budget that year was $39,000. And I remember, just for instance, I remember there was a woman named Beecher. She married a Daly boy. Florence, I think her name was. Beecher was getting $700 a year. And most teachers were.
Yes, that was a going rate pretty much.
And then every year it goes up and up and up.
Oh, yes. Then we get unionized. And boom, up some more.
Everything went.
Yeah.
But when we first built we had a very strong PTA. I was president of it for 2 years. And I knew that if I get the right people on my side, they vote for the addition. Of course, most of them, the mill pays 60% of the taxes anyway. So I know if I had Reuben and Alan on my side, that helped too. So just for instance, wanted a wooden floor. I always think it's very bad for basketball teams had to pay on cement.
Yes,
they fall on cement.
Mm-hmm.
It's bad anyway to fall. But. So we bought this parquet from Nicky Brothers in Memphis, Tennessee, where some of the near to anyway. And I think it was $3,500 it came to. Well, we didn't have money enough in the budget to pay for it. So I taught Reuben and Allie into buying the floor.
And they paid for the floor through the mill.
Mm-hmm. Also, when we went there, all they had for fire protection was a go-kart, like, with some holes on it, and you had to pull it.
This was the fire department.
That was the fire department.
Yeah.
And the first thing Alan and Allie bought was a second-hand fire truck.
Mm-hmm.
So you see, they helped the town a lot.
Oh, they certainly did. And he was a forward-thinking man.
Oh, yes,
Took pride in his town.
He always was very much pride.
Yes.
But he would never want to be a selectman or anything, because that wouldn't be his thing.
Yeah, but he was more of the behind-the-scenes. Yeah, very, very important spot, though.
Yeah, but he didn't, he wasn't that, it's just that's not his thing.
Yeah.
We made a very good selectman, but that wasn't his thing.
Yes. Anything else that you remember about Stratford that...
Well, I know it was real up and coming.
Yeah.
And it's just down the street was the Dowse family. They had 12, 13 children. And then there's Bernard family with 11 or 12. Yeah. There's the Paquettes with 11 or 12. Yeah. Nice family.
Yes. Solid family.
All solid, hard-working people.
Yeah.
And of course, every one of the company houses. I used to file a paper and paint for the company houses. Of course, they owned it, so I said, whatever people want, keep them happy. So I'd buy the paint and paper, and I knew it took 6 double rolls Plus the living room. I know the size of all the houses.
Yeah.
Half the time they didn't put it on, but anyway, they were happy for the time being.
Tell me, who lived in those mill houses? For instance, the mill houses that are on Route 3. Who lived in those? Were they supervisors that lived in those houses?
The ones on top of the hill.
On top of the hill were the supervisors, and then the ones on the Route 3
were.
were.
Charlie and Merle lived in the brick office.
Okay.
They made that into a house.
Yeah. But the lower level houses
were,
now.
You know, good hard working people.
Yeah.
Which there used to be where the sewer system is now. There were 4 tenement houses.
Ah, okay.
And they were torn down.
Now, was it Allie and Reuben who put those houses, all of those houses up?
No, they were there.
They were there when they bought it. Okay.
You know, see, the sugar refining company owned it.
I see.
They built them in the 16, 17, and 18.
Mm-hmm.
And they had to be well built, or they never stood the rigor.
Yes, that's right.
People moving in and out.
Yeah, I often wondered whether Allie and Reuben put up the houses or whether they were there. They were there. Yeah.
One year they painted every one of them.
Yeah.
The Gadwads did it.
Yeah.
They were all painters. The Gadwads.
Yeah. We had a Gadwad paint our house the first time.
Right. Right. And there used to be even a cement sidewalk up there to the houses. But all disarray now.
Yeah. That's too bad, isn't it? It's too bad to have to come back and see that.
Yeah, and the houses, in fact, the houses below them look better than the ones above the hill.
They do, because people have been allowed to buy them.
And they've been allowed to buy them, and the ones up above the hill, I think, are mostly, I don't know what they look as if people don't care. Yeah,
well, lots of times they don't. If it's not there.
Cars on the front lawn.
Yeah.
The porches don't look as though they're moving in or out.
Yeah. Now, has another company taken over that plywood mill and using the buildings?
Now it's some people that do sewing. GAM it is.
Okay, GAM. That's GAMM. That's right. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. And they're still there, are they?
I think the fellow who runs it is the fellow that bought Johnny Kelsey's house.
Okay.
You know, next to where Lawrence was.
Yeah. Now, I don't want to tire you out, but there's just one more thing I want to get to. That's when you came up here to Columbia. You also got active in town affairs, and you were moderator for the town meeting.
I've been the moderator when Eddie Frizzell, remember, he and his wife sold their farm and moved away somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was a moderator, as long as he lived, as long as he was here.
Yeah.
And I took the moderator's job over probably 18 years ago. And then last year I got the Goose Boy.
To at least help you with it.
Yes. Well, I go and stay while they're voting.
Yeah.
And then he runs the meetings.
Good for him.
It gets a little bit too hard.
Yes.
You know, it's too much.
Too much of a strain.
There's always some rabble rouser that is against everything.
Oh yeah.
Every town has them.
How many people? Do you know roughly?
I think last time I knew on the voting list was about 250.
250 people in Columbia.
But usually we're lucky to get 100.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember the last national election, there were just about 200, which is very good.
Yes.
And another thing I always notice, members Bond, is it Bond that comes from you know.
The teacher from Bloomfield?
No. The fellow,
Charlie Bond.
Yes.
From, who had been our senator.
He stops by in the voting day.
That's nice.
Of course, I suppose he's, of course, interested in the vote. Of course, his sister is Mary Grimes.
Okay, all right. Okay, because he's not in office now.
He's like in the governor's council.
Okay, I don't know whether he is or not. I don't know.
I think so. Because he was there last year.
He was. Yeah.
Very nice. I like him.
Yeah. Anything else that you can think of that you'd like to say about this area, this Columbia area now?
I noticed that, like last year when they had the party for Mabel Sims, they're really pretty loyal people.
Yes, they are.
They're real people.
I know. Speaking of parties for people, remember when the Grange had a reception for you?
Yes.
Was it somebody else besides you as well?
Well, it was I think that's the day they gave a award to Hook Boy. You know, Hook Boy was house burned in North.
Yes.
He since built a house in on the Vermont side.
Mm-hmm.
That was his daughter.
This is Lawrence Hook, and his daughter has is it Hodgkin's? Yes, yes.
And he got award that night too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the Grange, of course, those people in the Grange are real people.
Oh yes.
Now Mary Blige has played the piano there for probably 40, 50 years.
Yeah. Another thing too, I'm skipping back and forth a little bit, but I wanted to get this in. I happened to see in the News and Sentinel this last week that 20 former Stratford Plywood Mill employees met at the Sacred Heart Parish Hall to arrange for a reunion.
Was one of them.
Yeah, in July 30th.
You know how they got started? That benefit club got started. Allie Rubin wrote a check for $100 and gave to Mary, and she was the treasurer.
Uh-huh.
And then anybody who wanted to join it paid $1 a week out of their pay.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, it got added to.
Mm-hmm.
And it got started theoretically for, like, it used to be somebody died or something, wanted to buy flowers. You take up a collection.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they figured it would be better this way to buy flowers out of this fund.
Yes.
Instead of taking collection of them.
Yes.
Some give and some don't.
Yeah.
And that's how it all got started.
Yeah. But this idea of a reunion of the workers is great, isn't it? Yeah, you'd certainly want to be down to that. As they say, that the committee voted to have a raffle to fund the cost of mailing invitations for the celebration. So that'll be quite something in July.
Who did they say to send the raffle to?
Doesn't say. No, it doesn't say. It says any former employee who has not been contacted can call Oliver Arsenault at 636-1589. Oh yes, I want you down there that day too. Oh yeah.
You know, because it does 32 cents for every damn stamp.
That's right. You're right.
It's a crime.
You're right. Oh, now just one very last thing, and we'll call it quits, Maggie. I'm wearing you down. Remember, when did we start the Friday Girls? And you and Elmeline and Nada and myself.
Remember, Ina and I used to go out with you and Howard.
Gene Howard and Jerry sometimes.
And we didn't go very often.
Carolyn.
We went once a month.
Yeah.
And then we started, I don't know.
Then the four of us or five of us got started.
I don't know, but it must have been at least 2 years.
Later, yeah. I would say we've been going for at least 15 years. Because I was I owned the house when we first began that.
Right.
And we go to a different place every Friday night. Right. Usually go for toddies at somebody's house. We take turns at that. And we're still doing it. And we've added Mary Lou when she can come, and anybody else that might like to come on a Friday night. So it's almost an institution now.
I hate to give it up.
Yeah. No, we won't.
I know that all things end.
Yes. Yeah.
But I mean, I can't understand that. I hope this isn't being recorded.
Yeah. Don't say it if you don't want to. Yeah.
But I think it is.
It's a great thing.
It's something to look forward to.
Yeah, and of course, when I started working part-time at the library, it kind of threw a monkey wrench into the time. Yeah, but we seem to be having a good time.
Yeah, we do it all right.
And we don't ruin our meal by eating too many hors d'oeuvres first.
Hors d'oeuvres before.
Oh, golly. Well, Maggie, this has been great. And if we think of anything else that comes up or that we want to ask you about, I'll be back.
All right.
But in the meantime, amen and thanks a lot.
Okay.